Center. This is Beyond the Forecast with your most accurate local meteorologists.
Well, we say good morning, everybody. This is Meteorologist Brett Thackara along with you, and we are so thrilled to be with you here on this Friday to chat about all things weather. Rain today, a mild day later, and Saturday, and then what about this nor'easter? What about this snow on Sunday? Well, we're going to get into all of that and chat about it coming up here in just a little bit. Let's start with today because it is pretty ugly out there. There's no other way to put it. I said on the air this morning, I once had a boss tell me that you shouldn't say it's ugly out because some people may think that this is their perfect type of weather. Well, maybe you do. But, I can give my opinion on the weather, and I think it's ugly. I think cold rain is pretty ugly, right? I think most of you would agree. If you like it, more power to you. But 35 in rain is about as ugly as it gets, and that's what we have out there right now. It is just gross, right? If it's going to be cold, it might as well snow. That's my opinion. Now, I know some of you don't agree with that, right? At least we don't have to shovel rain. That is for sure. And we don't want anything that might give us any flooding concerns either. There is an ice jam risk in the western part of the state. We seem to be okay here. Now, the rain is exiting as we speak. This is a live view of the Doppler radar, and it is pushing on out of here, cruising very quickly. Franklin County, Cumberland County, Perry County, already out of it. Steady rain continues over Harrisburg, York, Lancaster, and Lebanon, but it is pushing out, and it is doing so at a lightning pace, which is why we said that probably by 9 or 10, the whole thing would be out of here, and almost by 8 o'clock. It is out of here, so that is good news. You can see a couple of lingering showers over Pittsburgh, and there may be showers lingering through about 9 or 10, but I think it's out of here by mid-morning, and it's history. Visibility improving slightly, but it is still low, only about 3 or 4 miles in some spots, but it's not as foggy anymore, which is good news. All right, temperatures currently in the mid-30s. This is going to be an interesting temperature day to track, because I think what's going to happen is that areas, I'm going to draw a line here, areas to the north and east of this line are going to stay kind of icky. Now, Harrisburg might be the exception. The airport data suggests that even the airport could get into the mid to upper 30s today. But I think this area over here has a shot to get into the 50s, and we're going to show you that coming up. Right now, though, mid-30s is pretty raw and pretty gross. Kinzers, though, a lot of the snowpack gone. And you'll see that in your backyards as well. But, I'm going to forecast mid-40s today at least. I think some areas are going to get warmer than that. Yesterday, we only had a 4-degree diurnal temperature change. We went from 34 to 38. That's it. And we picked up 0.2 of an inch of rain. Right here you can see that. And so our yearly departure sits at over 2 inches, but today's rain and yesterday's rain will help with that. And it was needed, my friends. So it helped to wash away the salt and the winter grime. And that's always a good thing. We do have snow falling in Wisconsin and Iowa on the backside of this storm. But the storm that we're talking about is right here. And this is a storm that is going to dip down, pick up some Gulf moisture, and then it is going to move up the coast. And as always, what is the path it's going to take? If the low sits here, as I think it might, then we miss out on the worst of it. If the low sits here, then we could get a good old snowstorm. I think the odds of that are looking less and less likely. But still, it bears watching. So here's the temperatures today, and if you follow the model, this sort of has the same idea of that line I drew right on the temperature map. Look at Chambersburg, Hagerstown, Baltimore, York. A lot of places, if we break into some sunshine, could make it into the 50s today. I don't think the airport gets to 50, but I think it gets in the 40s. I also think this is too cold tonight. I think we'll stay in the mid-30s, about where we've been every morning this week, because we're going to have a bit of a breeze tonight, and we're going to have some clouds. And then tomorrow, a pretty mild day. It may not be as warm as today could get, but I think mid to upper 40s. And so what's the one thing you really want when you have a snowstorm? You need cold air ahead of it, and we do not have that. I can tell you that. That doesn't mean we can't get snow. It just means that I think certainly at first it's going to be hard to accumulate, and that eats into the totals. So here's today, and again, this shows that nice little line here, this line of demarcation, this line of clearing. These areas here, look out. Temperatures are going to, I think, could really explode later. These areas here, you're going to get stuck around 40 degrees or maybe into the low 40s, but that's about it. So there you have it. Now, tomorrow's going to be a pretty nice day. Partly cloudy just about everywhere. Temperatures in the 40s. I think it's a nice Saturday. Let's talk about Sunday. Here comes the coastal storm. So the first thing that I can say about this, I don't think it's going to be in a position or phase quite right, the jet stream, the cold air to the north and the warm air to the south. I don't think it's going to phase quite right. We're sort of on the northern fringe of this. This would be more where you want to be to our south and east for this particular storm. You'll notice, though, it is snowing on Sunday. It's just light. It's disorganized. This does have some steady snow, though, Sunday night, and this is the part of the storm we're a little bit uncertain of. Once the sun goes down Sunday, if it snows steadily during the overnight hours, then we may pick up several inches. It's certainly possible, but this also kind of hints at the fact that by that point the storm is pulling away, the snow stays along the coast, and our area is kind of in this in-between disorganized section right now, where what I ultimately think is going to happen right now is that it could be snowing for a good part of the day on Sunday. You might look out the window and see the snow come down, but the pavement and a lot of the treated surfaces are going to be too warm. Temperatures are going to be at 35, 36 degrees. The snow is going to fall, and it likely will not accumulate. Now, it will on the grass and other places, maybe a few slushy inches. What does PrecisionCast say we're going to get? I like this idea. I like what it does here. It keeps most of the accumulation after dark, and it also shows that we're right on the fringe of this storm. When a nor'easter occurs, eastern areas get more, western areas get less. I like that. And when it's warm ahead of the snow and we're not in the right zone for a lot of snow, I think it's picking up on those signals. And so, could there be 1 to 3 slushy inches of snow here on Sunday? Yes. Do I think it's going to be that big of a deal? No, I don't. Not right now. Hold the phone. We're going to look at the European model. We're going to look at some other models coming up. So just hold that thought. And in fact, let's look at the extended outlook. It does look like an active pattern going ahead. The European different than PrecisionCast. So let's just show you this. Now it has the same idea though, because what this has is here's the low right here. I mean, look at all that moisture. The moisture with this storm is too far to the south. Okay. Meanwhile, this shows some mixing taking place here, which again would also argue for the fact that's going to keep snow totals down. But as we move into Sunday night, we get the cold air to wrap around. Without the daylight, we could get some accumulation here, but we're, again, right on the fringe of this. In order to get the really good snow, you'd want to be right here across Delmarva and maybe Jersey. That's not our area. Then it pulls away. There's a little clipper that wants to come in Wednesday morning. I think there's some potential for some light snow Wednesday morning. And then rain, another good old-fashioned rainstorm here on Thursday as temperatures begin to warm up again behind this. So the deal is you like to see cold air ahead of a snowstorm. Sorry, folks, but 48 isn't going to cut it. I think it's going to have a tough time accumulating. Now, it is going to get colder. Sunday, 36. Monday, 36. Tuesday, 34. So we've got this stretch of days that look chilly, and then temperatures go right back up again next week, which is why we expect the rain on Thursday. So we're going to play the model game coming up. Don't go anywhere, but I'll wrap up these graphics. The rain will exit here today, clearing from west to east. I'm going to be bullish on the high and go 47, even though the airport usually has a tough time warming up. 35 tonight, partly cloudy and breezy, and then breezy tomorrow, 48. I think tomorrow looks like a nice mild day. And then a light snow throughout the day, Sunday into Sunday night, with some mixing possible. We just showed you that on the European model. Breezy and chilly then to start next week. Maybe some clipper snow, a quick hit of snow Wednesday morning. It will be cold enough there. Look at the temperature down to 22, and then we warm back up later Wednesday into Thursday with some rain on Thursday. So let's play the model game because we're going to take a look. This is fresh off, hot off the presses. We are going to show you the European, the latest European here. I'm going to pull that up right now. And this shows the rain exiting nicely today. Here's tomorrow. We keep it dry. Watch how disorganized this is on the latest Euro on Sunday. First of all, it keeps that rain line really close. It does show some of that mixing, at least in my opinion. And then as we move into Sunday night, this may be when the steadiest snow falls Sunday night, which again, then it will accumulate, I believe. And it does show a little sort of deformation band here over top of the region overnight. By Monday morning, it starts to pull away, and we are left in the dust. Notice it does become more of a New England coastal storm. So that being said, what does the snow amounts look like in the European? Let's pull that up right now, and you can see this would give us about 3 to 5 inches of snow. But the problem with that is, this does not take into account mixing, or I should say the mixing is incorporated into this, so it's not just snow. And B, this is not taking into account the melting that will occur. So Precision Cast did, and it gave us about 1 to 3 inches. I think the European spitting out about 4 to 5 inches is also, in reality, about a 1 to 3 inch snowstorm if this plays out like the European is thinking. I want to check the Euro ensembles, too, and what they give us here, because they usually, again, they're taking all the different versions of the Euro, spitting them out as one on average, and again, about 3 to 4 inches if you factor in the melding. You got to shave off an inch or two. So, right now, and we're not ready to make a forecast yet. There's a lot of uncertainty with this storm, and you just have to be patient. I hate to say it. There's an inverted trough. There's the placement of the low. Is it going to be cold enough? Probably not. So, right now, if I had to make a forecast for all of you, I'd say about 1 to 3 inches of slushy snow. But let's wait and see, because if this low wants to move a little bit farther to the north, then maybe we get a little bit more. I just don't see it happening right now. Let's also show, and I want to go to the I want to look at the NAM model, because that did very well with the last storm. If you remember us preaching the last storm, we knew we would get a lot of snow up front, and then it would eventually change to sleet. And the NAM had that. We knew that it would. It does very well with mixed storms. So let's go to the latest version of the NAM here. And this is going to show you as we take you out. And watch what this does on Sunday. This is very interesting. Here is Sunday morning as we wake up. Watch this. It looks like it's going to coalesce right over top of us with snow, doesn't it? Some of our western counties get some snow, Franklin. But then watch what happens to this thing. It just sort of, kind of dies and moves east. And this kind of even misses New England, keeping most of us without a lot of snow. So when we look at, let me see if I can pull up our total snowfall on this. And it would actually give the western ridges more, and it pretty much blanks the lower Susquehanna Valley. So that's an interesting scenario in the NAM that will also need to be watched. But again, when you're forecasting, folks, and I know everybody wants to know how much snow is going to fall in my yard. Well, again, I wouldn't bank on much more than about 1 to 3 inches as of Friday morning here. And again, the NAM, which did well with the last storm, isn't loving much at all. So that's where we're at. Is there a difference between not much at all and 1 to 3 inches? To me, no. I'm leaning more toward that than some sort of a pie-in-the-sky snow lover solution where you get, another 6 to 12-inch snowstorm. I don't think that's going to happen here. And certainly we will continue to track it. I still think there's going to be changes, though. There's going to be movement with the storm. There's going to be changes in the models, and we will continue to track it. So just be prepared. Sunday could be snowy. I just don't think it's going to accumulate a lot until Sunday night, and by that time the storm is wrapping up. So that's a wrap here. I hope that helps explain where we're at on this Friday morning. Enjoy the rain, enjoy the clearing, enjoy the mild temperatures, and if we do get a little bit of snow on Sunday, enjoy that too. Have a great weekend. We'll keep you posted on the forecast. For Beyond the Forecast at ABC 27 News Plus, I'm meteorologist Brett Thackara. Have a great weekend.